Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Podcast number...
I don't know.
I don't know. Not sure.
I think it might be 9. So now we decided to try to add, now that we have a little more practice as far as doing podcasts, add a little more content. So we decided to start, not reaction, but a review of the TV show 1883.
1833.
1883.
Is it 1883? I thought there were 2 3.
1833 would be a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, about 50 years.
So 1883, it's on Paramount Plus
Right.
application that we have. And we started watching that. We watched the first episode, which is titled 1883. And it's with Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Is that's his name, right?
Yep.
Yep, Sam Elliott.
It's a lot of good people in.
Yeah. And there's another main character that I want to mention. His name is LaMonica Garrett. He plays Sam Elliott's sidekick.
Oh, okay. His buddy.
Oh, I don't know if they're buddies, but
Okay,
they work together.
Okay.
But I've never heard of this guy, LaMonica Garrett, which is kind of an interesting name for
LaMonica?
LaMonica for a dude.
Yeah. What else has he been in? Has he done other stuff?
I'm looking at it now. He's been in Designated Survivor, which we watched.
Started watching.
And Sons of Anarchy.
Which we also started watching.
We haven't finished watching a lot of these. He's been in a lot of things. He's actually in the comedy too, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, we don't watch that.
We haven't watched that. Curb Your Enthusiasm, which we started watching. He's been in a lot, but
Okay.
I don't think I recognize him.
I didn't recognize him. Well, probably because we don't watch those shows.
Right. So 1883 is the prequel to Yellowstone, which we started watching. Watched the first
two episodes.
2 episodes. And then I realized that 1883 is the prequel. So I figured, well.
Yeah, but not really related, at all.
It's the same family because they have the same name.
Yeah.
I like Westerns, not the old cheesy spaghetti Westerns or anything like that, but I like some of the Clint Eastwood stuff, well, a lot of the Clint Eastwood movies.
True.
Unforgiven and
I like those.
And those type of Westerns. And Tombstone's my favorite Western, I think, and Sam Elliott, of course, is in that.
Yep.
He was a lot younger.
Yep. You can tell he's aged, for sure.
Yeah, and it starts with towards the beginning, the scene of him burning his home down.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that took place at.
He never says.
No, but his family, looks like his wife and daughter, had what?
Smallpox.
Smallpox. One of the things I was noticing in that scene, he takes his daughter upstairs, lays her in the mom's bed, so they're together, and he burns the house down.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't he catch smallpox?
Maybe he's immune. Maybe he had it and he recovered. Obviously, he wasn't afraid of it and he didn't catch it from his wife or daughter.
Well, I think that smallpox, the blisters have to pop and that's what's contagious, right?
I don't know.
I think it's something like that. But either way, they had it long enough for them to die.
Yeah. Well, he said within 3 days. I mean, they talk about that later.
Later, they say within 3 days, you'll give it to everybody you know.
And die.
Okay. So that was just, I don't think it's a mistake. I'm sure there's an explanation for that if we knew more about that.
I mean, that's a pandemic. That was
Yeah, wearing a mask isn't going to help you with that.
Because it was contact. I think that was more of a contact. I don't know. We'd have to look that up. It's more of a contact. Well, that's like the blankets that had smallpox. And that may come up later in the show.
No, I think
died.
that happened a lot earlier. That was probably close to 100 years before it really spread.
You think?
I think so.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. I'm not sure. In school, I took a lot of history classes, one specifically the history of American West. Mm-hmm. And this is high school, which was
right
a long time ago.
35 years.
Well, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Maybe longer.
maybe
Yeah.
longer, but I enjoy these type of topics. This show doesn't say it's based on a true story or anything like that, but I
No.
think it's probably kind of close to how things were back
So
then.
far, I would think so.
It's not glorified,
Definitely not glorified.
right?
But you think of like, because they're going to Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what kept coming through my mind is we all played that game in grade school, high school, and junior high,
The Oregon Trail, yeah.
And already, smallpox was there, and they talked about dysentery already.
Now, I remember in that game a lot of people dying of dysentery.
A lot of people died of dysentery.
Is that just the shits till you die?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a stomach
It's a stomach
flu,
virus.
not a flu, a virus.
Yeah.
Huh.
From bad water, and I'm not sure what else. But yeah, so I was like, oh, well, we'll have to see how much more
Right.
of the Oregon Trail.
Well, kind of going back to this. Okay, this show is with Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Sam Elliott, and LaMonica Garrett, and, along with Isabel May plays the daughter of Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, and they're married in this show, which is hard to believe. I can't picture that. No, if they were married in real life, and their daughter is Isabel May. She plays a young woman. Would you say she's 15, 14? She might be
14.
considered a young woman back in those days.
Yeah.
Her name is Elsa. She's sort of she's the narrator too. It starts with her
Right.
narrating.
It's kind of her. It's kind of thing. I think it's her life or her take on.
Yeah, but she's not narrating the
What?
whole thing.
No,
Because she doesn't know what
she just
everything
has
that happened.
bits of narration.
Right. So maybe in IMDb, it'll tell us more as far as how accurate this was, or if it's based off of a real story.
Right.
I don't know. But it's a prequel to Yellowstone, and from what we've seen in Yellowstone, it's sort of like Dallas, a modern day Dallas TV show.
Kinda. I don't know. I wasn't a Dallas fan.
A big,
so.
wealthy, rich family, kind of their drama that goes on with that. But,
Yeah.
well, it starts out, I don't want to go through everything because I think
No, you need to watch
you
it.
need to watch this, and we don't want to give too much away. But what I noticed in the opening scene, which is a pretty violent scene, the Indians that were there, and I'm going to say Indians, I'm not going to go around saying Native Americans.
Well, no,
but
because that's what they were
whatever.
called at the time.
They were, right.
Go with that.
But they were wearing kind of their traditional garb, what's it called,
Yeah.
garb or clothing,
Their clothing.
along with European style clothing too. I don't know if you noticed that there were a few of them that had like a blazer on.
Oh,
So-
probably from somebody they killed. Yeah.
Right. Or traded.
Or traded.
You assume the worst.
Well, maybe that's because they were killing people in the beginning scene.
Right.
Or how it starts off.
Yeah, so I noticed that, and so that kind of makes sense. And then Sam Elliott's character, his name is Shea Brennan. And he was a captain, probably in the Union Army. And so I'm assuming he's a Civil War veteran. And even Tim McGraw, they don't get too much into his character. He's James. Is it?
I don't know. Yeah, James, I think is his name. You very rarely hear
Yeah,
his name.
James Dutton.
They keep calling him the farmer.
Yeah. And he was, the Dutton name is the same folks from the Yellowstone
Right.
show. So
far, that's the only thing that's in common.
right, they didn't mention if he was a Civil War veteran, but I think he probably was on just how he handles himself.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. So it'll be interesting to see if we find that out as the show continues.
Right. And his wife, Faith Hill's character, is Margaret Dalton. But going back to how towards the beginning, after the violent Indian scene, there's a scene where Shea Brennan, Sam Elliott's character, burns his house down. We talked a little bit about that,
Right.
the chicken pox. And what I was wondering, he burned everything he owned except for his horse.
Yeah, we didn't see him take anything from the house at all.
Right. He had to have some things packed up because he has some things later on.
Right.
And maybe he's a Pinkerton detective, which back then they used as a private security company. They're just for hire. You could basically hire them for just about anything.
Right.
And they were armed guys.
And he had a badge.
Yeah, for being a Pinkerton detective guy.
Right.
And Pinkerton these days is known for transporting the money in those armored vehicles.
Oh, that's right. I don't know. I didn't make that connection.
Yeah.
Not very smart, I guess.
So it's a very old company.
Well, yeah. Wow. I don't know why I didn't think of that at all.
Them and Wells Fargo were really old companies.
Right.
So in Wells Fargo, they protected people too. I mean, from what I understand, they were just people that you can hire for just about anything where you need an armed escort or service. So I don't think it was, I don't want to call them mercenaries because I don't think you could hire them to go kill people.
No, they were a protection service. They were a security service.
Yeah, security service.
Yeah.
So I would imagine the rest of Brandon's stuff was at his office at the detective agency that he had.
Maybe. I mean, I probably because smallpox was so contagious and by touch, the only way to really get rid of it is to burn everything. So he probably didn't take anything from his home at all.
Oh,
I bet he literally burned it all.
I was looking at it a little differently. That makes more sense. He was burning it to...
Because that's what they did, like with the blankets, and you hear that was the only way to get rid of smallpox is they burned, well, the bodies and everything that they touched. It's the only way to get rid of it.
I was thinking he did it to kind of sever ties with his past life.
That might have been like an additional, part of it if you want to get, down deep into it.
In that house...
Could have been, but I think it was...
The house looked like it was...
To kill it.
It's an older house, but it looked like a type of house you may just see in an old part of town these days.
Yeah, there was definitely no town.
It was in the middle of nowhere, yeah.
So I don't know if he was a farmer or he lived way outside of town and he traveled into town to do his...
Oh, he wasn't a farmer. He was
security.
A detective.
Yeah. So it was somewhere way outside of town.
He seemed to be the type of guy that liked his privacy. He was real quiet. Yeah. He was like E.F. Hutton. He didn't say much, but when he did, people listened, right?
Yep.
Okay. So... Tim McGraw, I guess I need to start calling him James. James Dalton is in a wagon. He's going towards town, which is
Hell's Half Acre.
Well, Hell's Half Acre, which is in Fort Worth, Texas.
Which is where they were going.
Which is where he was meeting.
He was going.
He was going with his family's belongings.
Right.
In a covered wagon by himself, being pulled by a couple horses. And he was going to meet his family, which is his wife, daughter, Elsa, who's the narrator, and a little boy. I didn't even get the little boy's name.
No, I don't think we've heard it yet.
And they were coming...
Sister-in-law?
And a sister-in-law, and it looks like her daughter.
Right.
And they were meeting him in Fort Worth, but they were traveling from train, in which we found out from the train conversation Elsa has with the stranger that they're from Tennessee. So I wonder why they're moving west.
I think he kind of alluded to that, and that's where we have to find out more by watching the show again, by continuing, is he alluded that he just wanted to go somewhere, to start over and where it's peaceful and it's happy. And I'm sure that like in Tennessee, it's probably just, he was a farmer.
Well, I have a question.
It doesn't say though. So maybe we'll find that out in future
No, but what
episodes.
I'm going to look up, and this might be common knowledge. Was Tennessee part of the Union or were they part of the Confederate States? They were part of the Confederate States. They were in the South.
They're on the edge, right.
So I'm wondering did he fight for the Confederacy?
We don't know.
If he's a veteran, which I'm probably assuming he is.
Right.
Which that's kind of an interesting twist.
Well, maybe we'll find out more as the show continues. Didn't even think about that. But I'm sure they just wanted to leave that area and get into somewhere that's new and
just a quick
peaceful, and everybody was going west.
Yeah, just a quick paragraph about this. It says, although Tennessee was officially a Confederate state in the conflict, the state would furnish the most units of soldiers for the Union Army than any other state within the Confederacy. So he might have been part of the 31,092 troops, white troops, that fought for the Union. And just, it also says over 20,000 black troops from Tennessee fought for the Union. So he might have been a Union soldier.
Right.
Probably an officer, I'm going to guess, if he did fight.
Yeah, we have no idea.
We have no idea yet.
Because they haven't alluded to it at all, other than he's a really good shot.
He's a really good shot with both a shotgun and a hunting rifle.
Yeah, some kind of
a
cool.
big hunting rifle.
Yeah, that thing had a big old long sight on it.
I bet they used that to shoot buffalo, is my guess.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll find out more about that too.
Maybe.
Because that was a cool gun. It was a cool gun.
Well, he was meeting his family in...
he was on his way to meet his family.
Yeah, he was on his way. Well, let's just jump to where he meets his family in Hell's Half Acre.
Okay.
In Fort Worth, Texas. And
Which was super dangerous.
It's a super dangerous town, which I'm going to guess that they didn't just make that up, that it was that dangerous. I bet it really was.
Probably. I mean, yeah, because they had, cowboys and outlaws, and it was a drop-off point, and people were... There didn't seem like there was any law necessarily.
Oh, we never ran across a marshal or...
No, it was all like just street law.
Right.
It was ridiculous. So you have to watch it. We won't tell you what happens, but that part.
We can't tell you by the time he is in Fort Worth, Texas. While he's actually there, Tim McGraw has killed 7 people already.
Yeah, by the time, but within his first, from getting there and then within the first 6 hours or whatever of being in Hell's Kitchen, not Hell's Kitchen, but Hell's Half Acre.
Right.
He's killed seven people.
Well, the 7th one, he didn't technically kill.
Oh, no, he just shot him.
He shot him where he probably would have died from the gunshot wound, but he ended up being killed another way.
Right. Which we won't tell you.
We're not going to tell you.
Watch the show.
So the story goes into the Sam Elliott, and I'm gonna have to use their real names. I can't use their character names. But Sam Elliott's character and LaMonica's character, they work for Pinkerton, and they're going to escort some people to Oregon.
Right. A bunch of
Texas,
people.
a bunch of people, and they're Germans. And only one speaks English.
I don't think they're all German, though, but they're definitely all...
They're speaking German, so I would imagine back then
the
the German language probably covered a big area, maybe several countries.
Right.
Which I think it still does now. So they were German immigrants. They were just right from Europe.
Right.
And moving west. And the reason they wanted to settle in Oregon instead of just anywhere from let's say New York all the way up to Texas,
right,
is because they were farmers and they knew how to farm in mountain areas.
Right. They know mountains.
And so they brought their whole families and all their belongings with them, and they needed some people to escort them there because it's 2,000 miles the way they were going.
Just like in the game.
Is it in the game?
It is.
And
it's just like in the game. The Oregon Trail.
Very, very dangerous. So that's where they're at. Earlier, there was a scene where Sam Elliott and LaMonica see Tim McGraw handle himself with his gun.
Right. We should use their character names.
Okay. Where Captain Shay Brennan and Thomas.
Shay and Thomas are watching the farmer.
Watch James Dalton, the farmer.
Because they call him the farmer for the whole, most of the episode.
Yeah. They watch him handle the gun, and they were pretty impressed, and they figured, hey, this guy can help us take these Europeans to Oregon, and we'll have one extra guy for security.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of goes into that. And we're jumping all over the place, so you definitely need to watch this. So hopefully we're just kind of piquing your interest.
It's really good.
That's all we kind of want to do. But
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So one of the things... another thing that I kind of want to talk about is how violent that town is, Fort Worth.
Right.
And nobody really seems to care.
No.
The farmer does because he doesn't want his family there.
Right.
But it's just a way of life.
Yeah. I think that particular town that's just how it is. And I'm sure there are other towns like that across or even leading from getting to Texas from,
Yeah, do you think like Dodge City was that way
because they're going north. They're not necessarily going west. They're going north.
Well, it'd be northwest.
But yeah.
Almost equally northwest.
They've already gone from, the East Coast area to Texas. So now they have to go up north.
Yeah, but it's still really west, though.
Right, but they keep talking about going north.
I think they mentioned that just because it's going to get colder and it's going to be, I don't know. But it is, you're right, it's north.
Right, but
northwest.
from Texas to Oregon, it's going to be like northwest-ish.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
It's all right. No.
So what about you? What were you wanted to say about how dangerous?
lost my train of thought.
I know I threw you off.
That's right.
But how dangerous
there's
the
really
town
not
is.
anything else I want to add to that. It's just super dangerous. Do you ever think about like our ancestors lived through that period? Obviously, where were they? And regardless of where they were at, it's not that like even places that were considered safe were that much safer. It just makes me think of how wimpy society is today compared to the way it was then.
Oh, God, yeah. Because, think about it. Back then, especially like in that town, it was all martial law, right? It was just you did your own thing, right?
Well, that's not martial law, but it's all... I know what you're saying, though.
I don't know what that would be called then.
Yeah.
But there wasn't, and there might have been a lawman somewhere, but we didn't see any. And we didn't hear of any. Like, they just handled that one situation. Like... There was no judge, no jury, no court.
Yeah, the guy committed a crime, and within probably 3 minutes, he was dead, huh?
Yeah. They just, strung him up, and he was done.
Yeah. But not just that, but just going through all the things that would have been hard to survive that we saw in this show. Like imagining our ancestors going through it. Okay, you have the plague, or smallpox.
And it was a plague.
We have just sort of the overall lack of food and water and shelter.
Right.
We have crime.
That was some serious
crime is just out of control. Sometimes you think now it's like, oh my God, somebody got like how many people were shot in whatever city, and look how dangerous it is. It is nothing compared. This is the best time in the world. This is the best time in history to be alive. For safety. Yeah. And sometimes we still think it's not safe. That's what makes me think, man, we have really become wimpy, a bunch of pusses, right?
Well, yeah, comparatively speaking. And really, if you think about like what we were talking about, is it really wasn't that long ago.
No, it was.
It's just so
100
crazy.
100 and it would be 120 years ago.
Something like that, 130.
120. 83, yeah. So that's really... two people that lived, to be 60 years old.
Yeah.
Away. So maybe 4 generations.
Yeah, 3-4 generations, man. How long they lived? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, though.
My grandma was born in 1910, so it'd be her with her.
It would be before that. It'd be the generation prior. Her parents.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you just put people's lives from end to end,
right,
that's only 2 people away.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Well, no, it would have been 3 people away. Because it'd be, you have you, and then your mom, and then her mom.
No, I'm saying if you put their life end to end.
Right.
Not being at the age to give birth.
Yeah, no, I'm not even thinking of that.
So it's 120 years ago, so you just need 2 people that live to be 60. That's 2 people away. See what I'm saying? It's not like generational thing.
Oh, I'm thinking generational.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. It is crazy. That's just crazy to think that, our ancestors, not even that long, really not even that long ago, great-great-grandparents, right?
Right.
We're there. We're in that time period.
Well, if you think about it this way, if an infant in that time period was old enough to see World War II in the atomic bomb.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
That's
to
really
go from that.
Right.
From that to, that's just crazy.
Just wild, wild west. Yeah. No water. No plumbing, at least out there. She kind of mentioned that
in New York they have
plumbing. In New York they have plumbing. And no electricity. I think everything was just Well, there was no electricity, so the gas lanterns and stuff.
Yep. I mean, and just overall safety, and then still traveling.
Imagine all the stars they were able to see at
Well,
night.
all of them. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Compared to we have to go to, and even then we can't really see.
Well, it was more common for them to see the whole Milky Way than us. That was a regular occurrence, an every night occurrence if
Right.
they looked up in the
there.
sky.
Right. Where we have to go somewhere so we can see it.
Yeah, maybe just less than a handful of times have I ever seen it.
Right.
And we're old already. It's not a common thing when we see it. I mean, we notice, oh my God, look in the sky. And of course, it'll be something like when we're camping or out
somewhere away from all the lights.
Right. So that was a regular. I wonder how that affects people's lives as humans.
I don't know.
Life was cheap back then, so I wonder if it has anything to do with that. I doubt it, but life was definitely cheap back then.
Well, that's all relative. I don't like when people say, when you talk about even in the 60s, gas cost this much or whatever. And now we look at, our $5 gas, price. That's all relative.
Well,
I mean, they also only made $1 a day.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm saying life was cheap. How easily they could kill somebody and not give it a second thought.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry. I was going off on another tangent. Well, and I don't know if life was cheap.
Okay, Tim McGraw, he killed 8 people in this episode.
Well, yeah, but the first 6 were after
okay,
him.
That's
they were
fine,
going to kill him.
How,
how
traumatized would you be if you killed 6 people at one time?
Well, right. I know. I mean, yeah.
It's not like he's going back to Fort Worth and is all shaken up about it and has to
he was totally chill.
Go talk to a therapist, or he didn't even have to tell law. He didn't even have to tell the law if there was the law. He just whatever, just kept moving on.
Yep.
And I don't want to make it sound like Tim McGraw's a bad guy. Well, his character, James Dalton's a bad guy because it's not like he went out and intentionally murdered these people. But
no, they were after him. It was kill or be killed.
Right. So, an interesting story about Tim McGraw. He puts on a great show. We've seen him.
He does.
In concert. Puts on an amazing show. Haven't seen Faith Hill, but seen Tim McGraw. And my little story about the Tim McGraw show was when he was walking by us, and I just said, "Hey, Tim." And he turns around I don't know if he thought he recognized my voice, but it totally captured his attention. And when he looked right at me, because I caught his attention, I didn't know what to say.
Sounds all right.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
And he's, for a guy our age, the dude is ripped.
Oh, yeah. He's in good shape.
He's in really good shape. And, of course, he was when we saw him in concert.
Faith's
and
in
even
really
now,
good shape.
Yeah. So I wonder how he does that. I might have to Google that. How does Tim McGraw stay in shape? I'm sure he doesn't eat the crap that we eat. That's probably the first thing.
We don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe he does. So that's it for the first episode, 1883. The name of the episode is 1883. It came out in 2021 at the end of the year. So it's a brand new show.
Right.
And we are going to watch the next episode and kind of go from there. And if you came here to think that you're going to get a lot of insight about the episode, that's not what we're really about. We're just here talking about the shows that we enjoy watching. We don't want to give too much away. But this is definitely worth watching. It got my attention almost immediately, or it got my interest almost immediately, or immediately it did.
Yeah.
And I have a very short attention span.
You do.
So I'm anxious to see the next one.
But between the two shows, because so many people really like the other one, the Yellowstone, between the two, since we've only watched one episode of each, I don't think we watched the second episode of
I think we watched 2.
Oh,
okay.
I like this one so much better.
Yeah, me too.
So much better.
The costumes, the whole set, everything looks
You really feel
real.
Like it's more, I don't know. I'm way more interested in that and the history, I think, with it than the more current.
Right. And Yellowstone has, Kevin Costner's in that. So,
I mean, they're
this
good.
whole production of 1883 in Yellowstone, A-list actors.
Yeah. And it's done really well.
It's each episode is from Yellowstone in 1883 that we've seen, it's movie, motion picture quality production.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like watching an episode of The Jeffersons.
No. Well, on the show, and the shows are, the time is more like a mini movie every time you watch it, because 1883, the first episode that we watched was an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're all going to be that long.
So I don't know. And I think that Yellowstone, they were over an hour also. So it's not like a regular TV show where it's 40 minutes or half an hour, because even an hour show with commercials and stuff are not an hour. It's like 40, 45 minutes.
Right. I'm going to see, just out of curiosity, the next episode doesn't have a time. It doesn't have the time on there.
So, but it's like a little, like a mini movie each time.
Oh, but I tell you what, just to give you a little bit of insight about the next episode, and we'll definitely be looking for this. Billy Bob Thornton is in it. Tom Hanks is in it.
Interesting.
And that's just kind of just peeking at IMDb along with the characters that were in the first episode. So we need to keep an eye out for them. Are they just cameos? Are they main reoccurring characters?
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. So far so good. We're fans at the moment.
Yep, definitely big fans of this so far. All right, folks. So thanks for listening, and be sure to hit subscribe and tune in for our next episode of 1883. Like, follow, share, all that stuff. We'll be probably both be putting out a short little TikTok video kind of promoting this for YouTube. So,
yeah.
All right, folks. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.